Man, what is up, Cowboys Nation? Boy, Mike Tag here. Hopefully, you guys are having a great week. You know, it's almost about time. Make it through the week. I got one more day left. At the beauty of the getting holiday season, I'm taking my PTO, so I got every Friday off for the rest of the year. But my last work day is next Friday when I'm off, so it's going great. So make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, share, all that kind of good stuff. Kelly, how are you doing? I haven't talked to you since the weekend, so you know, I know we got a busy show. We're talking obviously Cowboys and all that, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say, you know, what's up with Texas Tech and Miami getting in the playoffs. So get your thoughts on the whole bracket and where you guys see you guys are going to finish up.
Well, first of all, thank you. I'm doing great. You know, Texas Tech did their thing. Won themselves their first Big 12 title ever. You know,
Dominating. And thank you
and
for
that's
the I believed in you. I won $200 because of you, so thank you.
yeah, absolutely. And you know, it was you know, not only did they win their first Big 12 title, I feel like they've kind of made a step or taken a step in the right direction and shutting some people up, because you know that was the thing all year long. It's been kind of moving the goalpost on Tech. You know, they're not going to win, you know, 8 games. Oh well, Tech won't win the Big 12 championship. Oh, you know, now it's that Tech plays in a weak conference. I don't care. It's they've already proven all they need to prove to me. They got a legit defense. The first team in since like I think the early 90s. They're the only fourth team to do it in 100 years. 4 teams in 100 years that beat every single one of their wins were by 20 plus points or more. So it's not just that they were winning against teams, you know, they dominated teams. And that's to me the sign of a great team, is that when a team can go out there and they're not just winning, they're just dominant. And I mean, they played this BYU team that I think is a good team. I really do. I don't know what kind of damage they would have done had they got into the playoffs, but I think this is a good BYU team. And both times that they played that BYU team, they dominated. And I never had a doubt that they would, because I've watched this team and week in and week out. The one thing that never changes about this team, the offense may get a little shaky at times. Yeah. The offense may be a little inconsistent at times. The one thing that shows up every week is that defensive line. And that defensive line just gets after you. They're physical, they're big, they're dominant. They bully offensive lines, and they've bullied every offensive line they went up against. And I don't think that's going to change in the playoffs. And the thing is, that wears you down as an offense. And so whereas we saw kind of like in that BYU game, Tech is just dominating that first half, and BYU is kind of hanging in there. But it's like body blows, man. That defensive line is like body blow, body. And then here come the second half, here come the haymakers. And that's when the fumbles start happening. That's when the interceptions start. You know, Tech defense, Joey McGuire's got a saying, and it's take 3. He wants 3 turnovers in every game. The defense went out and got 4 in the second half. So, I mean, that defense is for real. And that's why I feel so confident on this Tech team, is because that defense travels. Defense is consistent. People talk about the first round bye and say, you know, a lot of these teams come out of the first round bye, might have a little rust. That ain't going to be the case here, because they ain't going to need to shake off no rust on the defensive side. Them dudes are dogs. They're going to show up ready to play. You can't coach physicality. And this Texas Tech team is a physical, tough, hard-nosed team. And yeah, I think they'll be able to hang with anybody that they play in this college football playoffs.
Yeah, I've seen a few of their games. Obviously, the big games they're on you know, national TV and stuff. Super impressed with their defense. It just smothering. You know, it was close, and I'm like, oh man, Kelly's going to cost me. That's a lot of points. Told him I was worried about the points, and all of a sudden the defense just went absolutely berserk, and like you said, just warmed down, and then it was just one after another. So it's going to be interesting. I like the bracket. I think Tech's got a pretty good side and an opportunity to get back down to Miami, where the national championship is going to be played. What's your thoughts on just the whole process? Because obviously, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but since McCain's are in, I'll go ahead and do it. You had Miami, you had Alabama, and you had Notre Dame fighting for 2 spots. Now, we can get into why Tulane and why James Madison. I mean, I think that's a joke. I think that's a bigger problem. But when you were looking at the 3 teams vying for that, you know, the 2 spots, obviously Notre Dame has been crying. They've been, just so upset with anyone who will listen. They backed out of the bowl. They said the ACC is permanently damaged their relationship because they felt the ACC showed support to Miami. They don't understand. Miami shares their money. Notre Dame doesn't. So they're in their best interest to get a true ACC team in there. So what was you as an outsider? You had no allegiance to any of these teams. What was your thoughts on the process and how the committee came to their decision?
Well, I thought that in terms of the whole Miami Notre Dame thing, I thought that you got to go with the head to head because what other point? What's there's no other tiebreaker to me head to head. If you take two teams and you're wanting to figure out which team deserved a spot and they got the same record, then I go head to head. I don't like this whole strength of schedule and all that shit, because to me, strength of schedule don't necessarily mean anything to me, because you could sit there and tell me, oh, well, this team, played this team and they beat them by 15, but this team beat them by 20. I mean, to me, that don't mean anything, because then if you line those same two teams up a week from now, maybe the results are it's hypothetical scenarios to me, because injuries, an off day by the offense, bad play, just all kinds of different things play into that. So I think you always take the head to head. I think they made the right call on that. But honestly, to me, man, what I would like to see the College Football Playoff Committee do is just, if you're going to do 12 teams, take the top 12 teams. I mean, take the top 12 teams. That's it. If you ain't in the top 12, you don't get an argument. It's the top 12 teams. That's who's going to the playoffs, seeded 1 through 12, just basically like how the NFL does it. And I don't really understand why they don't do that, because then you can go down to tiebreakers. Then you can go down to which would go down to head-to-heads, and then if you need to boil it down a little bit further, then you can go start digging deeper into the strength of schedule type bullshit. If you're getting between 12 and 13, if they got the same record, but I just think you take the top 12 teams, man, and I think that would just solve a lot of this thing, because it's plain and simple. You ain't one of the top 12 teams, you ain't in. Period. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And to Garland, he made the point of top 12, and he talked about the championship conferences. I don't even think you need that. You should have conference champions anymore, because you really
I don't think you have to do that either. No,
you got 18 teams in there. They're not playing each other. So this is the problem. Like, as mad as Notre Dame is, be mad at the process of the tiebreaker in the ACC, because you had 5 teams vying for those spots, and the tiebreaker scenario was stupid, and they should have just took the top team, because had Miami been in the championship game, they would have got the automatic bid. Notre Dame's in, Alabama's in, only one of those smaller schools are in, and all would have been fine. But it's just a process of it. So I agree. It should be the top 12. What I don't like is the sour grapes, and what I don't like is Notre Dame now getting a pass and say now the new rule is if they finish in the top 12, they're automatically in the playoffs no matter what. I just think they're a bunch of babies. I think they're sore losers. I think they're crybabies.
They took their ball and went home.
All these people hate Notre Dame, and I always say Notre Dame's like the Dallas Cowboys of college football. Now I'm starting to understand what people are talking about when they say they hate us. I'm starting to feel it, because I'm on the other side of it. But no, it's just get in a conference if you want to do it, but I agree they shouldn't have conference champions. But the only thing I would say, and in those conference championship games, I don't think losing should hurt you as much. But when I saw BYU lose the way they did, then I see Alabama lose the way they did, it kind of like made me think, well, shoot, Notre Dame should be in ahead of Alabama, because Alabama had 3 losses. That was their 3rd loss. Now, granted, they beat Georgia on the road in the season, but no one wants to talk about that bad loss to Florida State. I mean, they got beat handily there. So
yeah,
I think Notre Dame could have had a legitimate argument with Alabama, but really not so much Miami. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about, the college football playoff system is that it leaves too much room for human bias in terms of where teams end up ranked, how the committee looks at certain conferences, because and it's where the college football playoff committee loses me is the whole kind of conference championship thing. And then, like, You lost me at Tulane and James Madison.
Yeah.
Because look, am I saying that I think that BYU would have made a run and won the national championship? No, but do I think that BYU would put up a hell of a bigger fight than James Madison or fucking Tulane?
They wouldn't be
Absolutely, I do.
20-point dogs in the game like they are.
Their two losses, BYU's two losses were to Texas Tech, the number 4 team in the nation, and they only lost 2 games because conference championship game. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, I don't think a team, it's kind of hard to punish a team for having to play in a conference championship game because you were dominant all year. You were good all year. You won all your games except for one, which is to a top 5 team. And now you're sitting on the outside of the playoffs because a team like James Madison and a team like Tulane is getting in, which, I mean, again, no disrespect to either one of those teams, but they're both getting the doors blown off of them in round 1. I don't see.
And I was going to say this, but man, our PE said, I mean, Ole Miss beat them by like 30+ points, beat Tulane this year.
Yeah, and I said, so I think that's where the college football committee loses me, man, because I think that I do agree there were 2, and I'm not sitting there and trying to say that Notre Dame is one of those teams, but I'm just saying there's definitely 2 teams that got left out that have a rightful gripe because of the fact that they they would put up a better fight in this college football playoffs, put up a better game than a Tulane or a James Madison. So it's just getting to the point where it's like, and now they're like, oh, well, now we need to expand it from 12 to 16. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, because it doesn't matter how much more you keep expanding these college football playoffs. All you're going to do, one, you're going to make the playoffs even longer. These kids are already having to play enough games as it is if you're having to play in a conference championship game. But then it's just like it's getting to the point where, almost like the NCAA tournament. It's like everybody gets into the tournament now. You get a bid, you get a bid, you get a bid. 68 teams in the NCAA basketball tournament. When it originally started back in the 30s, obviously a lot less teams, or started in like 1939, there was 8 teams, and now it's 68 teams. And now they're talking about expanding the NCAA tournament to 75 teams. So it waters it down to me. I mean, you're just overcomplicating a process that just follow the NFL, man. They take the top seeds with the top records, and that's what you should do in college football. Don't make it that difficult. And then once there's a process set in place, it's set in place, and people stop bitching and whining so much because you've got a consistent process. The college football playoffs keep switching it up, and that's why everybody's got to bitch every year, because they keep switching it up. They're not staying consistent. They've just gone off the rails on what they do, and they're trying to make sure everybody gets included, even these smaller schools. And you don't got to do that, because you know damn well as the college football playoff committee that them smaller schools do not belong in those games, period.
No, this is what I'd say, wrap it up, and we're going to talk some Cowboys, but this isn't basketball where the Cinderella stories exist. This is
they don't exist in football.
This is football, and the small schools, they got maybe one guy. I mean, the Alabama's got 30 guys that are 5-stars, or that could play in the NFL or whatever. You just can't you can't match it up like basketball. What I say they should do is, you got your big conferences. Take your smaller ones and make it like the NIT. Give them a playoff with a national. Dude, take them that 12, but don't put them up with the big boys, because it's not going to work. Put Tulane, put South Florida, put James Madison, do a 12 playoff for the like what the second tier called the NIT, like the way they do it, and then leave it up there. And then I think that would solve a lot of problems as well. But let's move on to some football, because the Cowboys, you and I didn't talk, but obviously disappointment in Detroit. I think a lot of it was 3 games in 11 days, a lot to ask. I think winning 2 or 3 was probably, I think any of us would have took that early on in the season, but we knew the ramifications of what we put ourselves in. You had to win that game because of what was ahead. But we said the one asterisk that could change everything was a free fall in the NFC East, and our Philadelphia Eagles seem to be obliging, and they are an absolute downward spiral. Probably an enjoyable game for anyone who doesn't like the Philadelphia Eagles, because it was just comical, the amount of turnovers and double turnovers and just the lack of everything that went on. But I mean, what's your thoughts on, the state of the NFC East? Do you still think that's really the Cowboys' only path? I went through the playoff predictor. I did every scenario where I tried to work it out, and I just don't see a path where the Cowboys can get in as a wild card, even if they win out. I just think the teams ahead of them and their schedule and then play each other. I just don't. I think it's too many to climb. I don't think they'll be able to get ahead. I think the East is their only option.
I agree. That's really the only option is to win the NFC East. But I mean, it's funny because I sit there and I watch, Jalen Hurts, the quarterback that they talk about that's not carried. And it's funny because now a lot of these analysts are seeing the exact same things that I've been saying. I feel like a lot of people within Cowboys Nation, content creators, have been saying for a very long time, and that's that things have to be 100% perfect for Jalen Hurts to be a successful quarterback. He's got to have one of the best O-lines. He's got to have the #1 defense. He's got to have a 2,000-yard rusher, because if he doesn't, things don't go his way. Last year, they went his way because the Eagles were smart. They got a Saquon Barkley. They took the ball out of Jalen Hurts' hands. Every single time they put the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands and he has to throw, they showed a stat today that he is, I think it's 0 for 5 when he has to throw over 30 times a game. They don't like Jalen Hurts throwing. I mean, they like to take the ball out of his hands because when he has to throw a lot, he is proven time and time again, he is just not the guy that you want passing. But I mean, to see Jalen Hurts go down in the history books as the only quarterback to have 2 turnovers on the same play, to see the fact that Jalen Hurts had a QBR so low that he would have had a higher QBR had he spiked the ball on every single possession. I mean, it was just a comedy of error for the Eagles, man. I mean, their defense is out there doing everything that they can do to stay in this game, and Jalen Hurts is doing everything he can to just give it away. So, pretty comical, man. The Eagles now in a free fall. They've lost 3 straight. And, and right there, the Cowboys, the division is kind of right there. We really did kind of shoot ourselves in the foot losing to Detroit. If we hadn't lost to Detroit, you really got these guys sweating, because now you're sitting there. The Cowboys are looking at 7-5 and technically only a half game back from the Eagles right now at this point. So that would have been very nice, but we didn't, we've got a favorable schedule kind of going the way out. The disappointing thing, I think, for me with last week's game with the Cowboys is just the continued failure to play up to standard on the road. It's something just weird about this team right now that they're just not there yet. And I haven't been able to put my finger on why they play so poorly on the road, but this team is just night and day from when they play at home to when they play on the road. I thought they went into Detroit. I thought they had a decent chance to win against a team that was banged up in Detroit. But I mean, let's face it, man, you've got a team with their backs against the wall like Detroit. Anytime you go to play a team like that, especially a team that's been good in the playoff team for the past, couple years here in Detroit, anytime you go to play a team like that, backs against the wall at home, their crowd was crazy loud, and they showed up ready to play. And so we knew it was going to be a tough game. And like you said, Cowboys played several games in a short time span. So, beginning of the year, if you would have told me we took 2 out of 3 of that, I would have walked away feeling pretty good about it. It's just that we stumbled too many times before this point to where we really needed to kind of run the table, unfortunately. So we are where we are now, and all we can do is go 1 week at a time and hope that the Eagles continue to fall and the pressure continues to mount on that team, and let's just keep pushing.
Well, I'm on a streak. I've bet against the Eagles the last 3 games. I've won every one. So they are fattening my wallet. So I'm going to continue the streak, even though they're playing the Raiders. They're getting a lot of points. And I just think this is a team, if you watched Hard Knocks, it just seems like a team in turmoil. And I don't know why. I mean, they had their defense played well in that game. Barkley actually finally got off. I mean, he played well. I saw in the comments, A.J. Brown has played well in the last 3 games, right? He's playing well. He's playing well, except for the drop that he made in that game, but that's well for us. But, the common denominator has been Hurts has just not been able to hold up his side of the bargain. And I don't know if it's going to change. They're blaming the offensive coordinator. I didn't. I mean, it looked like just bad plays. It looked like bad plays. I mean, it looked like bad play by the quarterback cost it. So they've got Buffalo. I think Buffalo beats them. I think it's at Buffalo. I think Buffalo beats them. The hope is you have the Raiders and the Commanders. I mean, that's where the season is going to lie. Do the Commanders, can they pull it off? And we got to win out at the end of the day. There's no room for the Cowboys. The Cowboys have to win out. If they don't win out, it's all for naught anyway. So, I mean, could you see the Commanders or the Raiders? I mean, if the Raiders beat them, it's over, right?
Well,
I don't think they'll win another game.
It looks like the Raiders are going to be without their starting quarterback. Kenny Pickett's going to be the starter. It looks like is what they've announced because the starter.
He's familiar with the Eagles.
So you've got Kenny Pickett, who not obviously he's a backup quarterback for a reason, but hey, look, man, I'm looking forward to a Kenny Pickett legacy game right here, man. You know what I mean? Look, if you're the Raiders, man, you're smelling blood in the water. You got the Eagles on a 3-game losing streak. Now, listen, in all reality, man, I think the Eagles kind of get right in this game and win against the Raiders. If they were to lose against the Raiders, then as an Eagles fan, I would poke my head in the sand and never pop it back out the rest of this season because it's a 2-win team. You should go and mollywop them. But that's kind of what I see. I could see the Eagles going and taking out some frustrations on this Raiders team who has just been, comically bad. Likely going to have the number 1 draft pick, come next year's draft. So I don't think the Raiders will. The Commanders, on the other hand, is it kind of an interesting deal there, but they also look equally bad.
Yeah, they were bad.
So I don't know, man. You really need the Eagles to lose 2 more. Can I see that? Sure, I can, just because the Eagles have been so bad on offense. I mean, just putrid on offense. So yeah, I mean, I could see the Eagles losing 2. I could see the Commanders maybe stealing 1, but I will just say this. They've got a favorable schedule. They shouldn't lose more than 1 more game. Honestly, they should lose one more game, I think, is to the Bills. And then I think they beat the Raiders and the Commanders twice. And I think they end up winning the division and the Cowboys are on the outside looking in. But, any stranger things have happened. And a 3-game losing streak with the Cowboys breathing down their necks definitely puts more pressure on this team and on that Eagles team. And we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but the Cowboys have to handle their business or it really doesn't matter. So the Cowboys got to do what they got to do. Otherwise it's all for naught, but hey, you're playing meaningful football in December. It's going to be fun and we'll see how this thing works out. Cowboys got Minnesota Sunday night, which we're going to get into, but listening to Shoddy and a lot of people were asking, man, what's going on with Diggs? What's going on with Diggs? So, I just posted this tweet from his press conference, and one of the interesting things is what he said is still figuring out the defense, and there's some new faces in the huddle. I love him as a player, but ultimately he's got to show us that he's ready to do everything the right way. And that last sentence kind of makes me wonder. It's not really a health issue with him. It's a locker room. It's me mentality. And we sure could use them in the secondary because I think our secondary is a really weak spot on this defense. And but listening to that, I'd be surprised if we see him playing again for the Cowboys. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we've probably seen the last of Diggs, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm fine with it. Can he help? Yeah, but I'm sick of him at this point. I'll be just honest with you. I'm sick of the just basically the BS. I think when they got rid of Parsons, I think maybe that rubbed him wrong or something. I'm not sure. Yeah. I think he's had a shit attitude. I think on the field of play, it looks like there's been some times that I see him where it looked like he just gave up. There's times where he's whiffing on a tackle. There's times where it looked like he was uninterested in making the tackle. And I don't know what it is about him, but he lost me. And he lost me a little while back, actually. But it would not surprise me if Diggs wasn't on this team anymore. And I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, he did it to himself. Cowboys gave him that contract, and I don't think he's lived up to it. And unfortunately, with the Cowboys, that seems to be the way it goes with some of these players. I mean, you got some guys that you pay and they're worth every penny, and then there's other guys you pay that don't quite live up to what you envisioned for them. So I think he'll be on a different team next year, and best of luck to him. But yeah, I mean, if he came in and played these last few games, it'd be nice to see him back there in the secondary. But I just don't really see a way forward for him. I think he's rubbed his way wrong with his coaching staff. I think Schottenheimer, I don't think he's the kind that is going to let players dictate how they play, when they show up, when they don't show up. I think Schottenheimer's an accountability guy. I mean, I think he's already shown that this year on multiple occasions. So I think Diggs will be playing in a new home next year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's if you don't have the attitude and you're not all in with your team, then it's addition by subtraction, and he wouldn't be able to help the Cowboys if he's not all in. It's just going to create more problems, and then it's just going to create more internal locker room issues. So, I mean, I'm to the point where I'd probably just not even have him on the practice field. Just kind of say, take the rest of the year off, go do whatever, be a June 1st cut. And, the Cowboys, hopefully I'm sure there's some stuff they got to eat, but maybe they'd be able to absorb some of it where it doesn't impact them much. But yeah, disappointing because I think he really was a fan favorite. I think we loved, obviously his son, captured the hearts of all the Cowboy fans, and we love Diggs, the big playability. I would have loved to see him kind of bounce back and have that kind of year with the Cowboys coming off an injury. But when you're hearing stuff like that from the coach, it kind of just sends a message that there's probably a lot more than we know. We're not in the locker room, but there's a lot more internal stuff that's probably maybe too much to get over. But looking at the Vikings, and let's preview this game and let's get your guys' opinion on what you guys think of this Vikings team. They've been kind of, up and down a little bit. Quarterback's been hurt. Quarterback's been back. They look decent, look good, look terrible. They look really good against Washington, but Washington looked really bad, and their quarterback went down. So I don't know if we got the true feeling of it. It's at home Sunday night. Dallas typically plays very well at home, and prime time is always good to see the Cowboys on. So what is your overall kind of just, 30,000 foot view when you see Cowboys Vikings? I mean, the confidence level, what are you worried about with the Vikings, and how do you think, the Cowboys match up overall?
Well, I thought the Cowboys, I thought it'd be a kind of a easy win for them is what I thought. But, then I seen that the Vikings, but was it the Commanders they beat like 32-0?
Yeah, they beat them
32-0. So, I don't know. I guess they still got some explosiveness in them. So can't take anybody, unserious, I guess, if you're a 6-6 team at this point. So, but I think the Cowboys, I think the Cowboys will match up well with them. I think, I like our offense really against anyone. I think our offense is really good. I think CeeDee Lamb was taking reps in practice, going through concussion protocol anyway. And I think he'll work his way back on the field. So I think you'll have Lamb back on the field with Pickens. And so, I think the Cowboys win this one. I don't think it's going to be as a blowout. I think it'll probably be a close game. I don't know that the Cowboys really are going to have anybody else on the schedule that they'll really blow out. I think a lot of our games will probably be within a touchdown, to be honest with you. I had to watch this team. I think what keeps the Cowboys kind of out of things, I think their secondary and their linebackers are really hurting them right now. Overshown is doing what he does, but
well,
I mean, he's on
about Overshown. Let me because I'm like Overshown. You see him and but you're not seeing the big splash. And so he's kind of like, I said, I don't really see him rushing the passer at all. Like, they, blitzing him, doing things.
Yeah.
So I, kind of look back into the numbers, and I don't think they've sent him in on a blitz once. They're kind of playing him like a true linebacker. I like him as a utility player, right? He has Swiss Army knife, can do so much. Do you think they're being more cautious with him, or do you think Eberflus is not using him to his ability and really making him try to be an X factor?
Eberflus is just not has not through this season really been a big blitzer. I mean, he doesn't really bring the blitz a lot, period. I haven't looked into the numbers, but I would think that we're probably at the bottom of towards the bottom of the league in terms of blitz percentages, by play. You just don't see a lot of blitzes from him. I mean, he's pretty much content to rush with 4. Every once in a while, he'll bring a 5th guy, but I don't feel like the Cowboys blitz a lot. But what I've seen from Overshown. Have I seen a ton of splash plays? No, but I'm still seeing that speed. He's got that closing speed. He does have the closing speed. But again, we talked about the fact that I thought up to this point that I thought Overshown has exceeded expectations, in my opinion, of where I thought he would be in the recovery process. I mean, he's coming back from a pretty gruesome injury that he had. And not only is that the first injury, that's the second on that. He's had both legs injured. So, I mean, you look at a guy like, just take Javonte Williams, for example, because, I'm going to use him for an example because he's a guy that uses his speed, lateral movement, needs to be able to cut. Overshown is kind of like that same type of player in terms of that side to side speed, needs to be able to be explosive to the point of contact. And you're coming off 2 major knee injuries. So I think, that we could still be looking at late next year before we see the Overshown that we have seen in the past. You know what I mean? I think it could be mid next season to late year before we see that. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's sooner than that. But I do think that, you're not seeing 100% of Overshown right now. I think you're probably seeing about maybe 80%, maybe 75 to 80%. And you just look at it because over the time and over history, it's kind of proven itself that when players are working back from these injuries, even when they're healthy and they're cleared medically, still takes them a while to get back to being in that shape that they were, trusting that, that injury. I mean, Javonte Williams said it. I mean, he said, it took him damn near 2 years to get over, almost 2 season and a half anyway, to kind of get back to where he felt the best that he's felt. So, I think Overshown will eventually be right. But right now, I think that our 2 biggest weaknesses is our linebackers and secondary. The Lions absolutely picked on it. They exploited it in a big way. You got linebackers out there, and Kenneth Murray that can't wrap up. I mean, it's really embarrassing when you've got guys in the secondary, especially when it's a linebacker, and they can't make a tackle. I mean, you've got guys in there that should be tackling a guy at the line of scrimmage, misses the tackle, whiffs on the tackle, and then a guy ends up 15 yards downfield. I mean, that's just inexcusable. Wrap the hell up. I can't tell you how many times I said that in the Detroit game where they had guys and they were just ill-disciplined. And, I mean, credit to Gibbs. I mean, Jamari Gibbs is an absolute beast. But, I mean, dude, he put Deron Bland on some skates in that one play, man. I mean, just put the brakes on. Deron Bland goes flying by, and Gibbs goes right on down the field for like a 15-yard gain. So these guys just got to play with I don't know. They got to play with better discipline. They got to be able to tackle. They got to be able to just play better, period. And I think that our secondary needs help, and I think that our linebackers need help. Unfortunately, Revel, who we thought had a couple of good games, were like, hey, look at this guy, he's coming along. Detroit picked on him big time, and he looked rough in that Lions game. And I'll give it to you that one rough game does not make a career, but he's going to definitely have to buckle down because after he puts that kind of performance on tape, teams are going to start picking on him as well. They're going to see that and they're going to go after him, and that could become a liability very quickly if he doesn't buckle down.
Yeah, and you got Justin Jefferson coming to town.
Exactly.
JJ hasn't proven to be just great, like throw the ball and all of that. He still seems to me to be struggling. So I know Jefferson hasn't put up the huge numbers that he's used to. But like you said, you saw St. Brown, and St. Brown was supposed to not play. And, man, if he didn't play, maybe the game would have been different because he absolutely was a problem. And I think where the problem for this Cowboys, the linebackers and in the secondary is yards after catch. Get them in the open field. You saw Jahmyr Gibbs, obviously, in the passing game. He didn't really hurt him so much in the run game, but in the pass game, once he got out there and he's getting the ball in the open field, he was making guys look foolish. It was reminiscent a little bit of Barry Sanders, and I know Barry Sanders was in the building, but I mean, he was doing highlight reel plays, poster, they used to call it poster
Yeah.
size and all that on them. And it was, it was tough. And the Cowboys defense, they're going to have to toughen up. I mean, the Vikings got some playmakers. We won't go too far down the road because you just got to worry about this game. But that is a concern. And what concerned me a little bit, even going back to the Lions game, is early on, the Cowboys were pressuring up the gut, and they were causing Goff to have problems throwing the football. And when you pressure him, he was throwing short, he was throwing wide. It was just you could see it, they were definitely messing with, and then it just kind of went away. It's like we stopped doing, we stopped bringing more pressure and doing all that kind of stuff. And if Eberflus is going to take this mentality of just play it safe because maybe he's concerned about exposing his secondary, we're going to expose him anyway. So I'd much rather bring the heat and roll the dice that the quarterback is going to make the good pass and the good throw. You're playing a young quarterback too. I'm bringing the heat on him. And if he beats you throwing the ball and he throws for 350, then, I mean, you just got to kind of take it, I guess, rather than sitting back and just let them just kind of pick you apart too. I just rather go down fighting if I'm going to go down.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, at this point, if you're the Cowboys, I mean, and you're Schottenheimer, they got nothing to lose, man. Be aggressive, and if you're Eberflus, be aggressive. You want to be an aggressive team, and you want to attack. And when you got nothing to lose as a football team, which, let's face it, what does this Cowboys team got to lose? I mean, you're out here depending on other people to lose ball games, then you're not in a position where you really need to be conservative. It's not like you're trying to hold on to the number 1 seed. It's not like you're the Eagles who are in a 3-game slide, need to play, careful. You're the Dallas Cowboys. You're 6-1, and you really just need to win out. And in my opinion, I would respect them more if they went into each one of these games like a goddamn kamikaze pilot. You know what I'm saying? Shit, listen, if we're going down, we're gonna go out with a bang. And I'm throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at you, man. So we're going to be aggressive. If there is a point in the game where it's a fringe point of the field and it's a 4th down, I'm going for it. If it's a tight game, I'm doing everything I can to win these games without being overly stupid, obviously. But I'm telling you, I'm throwing caution to the wind, and I'm going to be aggressive. And I would respect these guys more for doing that. But my biggest thing right now this season, though, is that almost through with the season here. Got what, 4 games left,
man. It goes
and I really, man, I know that they're probably going to get a couple guys on defense and maybe make some additions and stuff. But, man, I just don't know if I still don't think I'm sold on Eberflus, man. And I know that we got to have some better personnel back there. I know they made some changes, but he just doesn't seem to me to be as aggressive as a defensive coordinator as I really like. I like aggressive blitz packages. I like to see my defensive coordinator disguising his blitzes. I like to see him bringing pressure from different angles. And I think that that's part of the reason why Detroit was able to slice and dice us up. I think that he was too one-dimensional. I think, we saw early the Cowboys being able to bring pressure up the middle, and then Detroit adjusted to that. And you saw it. You saw it in the game. They were leaving Gibbs in there. They were bringing in an extra offensive lineman. Do you remember seeing that? They were bringing in that extra offensive lineman for certain plays. So they had that heavy personnel, and that guy would pull and go, and you'd see him pull and hit the middle. They basically were like, all right, if that's what you're going to do, and we can't block it up the middle, we're going to make an adjustment so that we can. We're going to bring in extra beef. We're going to bring in a tight end. We're going to bring in a running back to chip here on you. And our edges just weren't there yet. So if that's the case, you can't keep trying to do the same thing. You can't just try to keep bringing the pressure up the middle, which is what they did. You got to adjust to that, and you need to start bringing some blitz packages. And I don't know, man. Eberflus really has not impressed me at all, and I think he's going to be back next year. I don't think they're going to let him go. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe they do, but I've just not been very encouraged by what I've seen by Eberflus and his packages this year at all.
Yeah. I mean, I gave him an incomplete until after the bye week. And I said, this is pretty much where he's going to get judged is, from that Raiders game on, because, now you got some pieces of work. You got some guys back. And I get you don't have everything, but I got to see what happens. I mean, I want him to succeed because I don't want to go through another transition, another defensive coordinator. That'd be 4 in 4 years. I think continuity in a staff does mean something. I think it does help. But when you're watching the Texans defense, and you're watching some of these other defenses and what they're doing, it kind of makes you a little frustrated. And it's like, why can't we do some of those 49ers defense? Why can't we bring some of that creativity and some of the disguises you see what the Bears have been doing a little bit, and so that's the part that gets frustrating. I did want to a couple things from the chat. We got a lot of people hopping in and don't want to leave some out. And Eric, he said the Giants game scares me. And I just highlighted this one because, sometimes I would say yes, but I don't know if you're watching Hard Knocks. And that last episode, they were going to the bye week. And I listened to the interim coach kind of speaking, and I'm looking at the players. That has to be the most disinterested team I've ever seen. Now, I don't get to go look in the locker room and see that, so the Hard Knocks kind of shows it. But they just don't look like they want to be here. And maybe I'm wrong. We'll see what happens. But just looking at that, that's why I'm probably not as worried about them. I'm really worried if I was going to pick a game. The Commanders worry me because I think Quinn still has the pulse of that team. I don't think it's been a great year by them by any stretch, but there's guys on there that seem like they're going to play for some pride. They still look like they had that kind of fight in them, even though they're getting their ass whooped if you're just watching Hard Knocks. So that's where I'm kind of looking at that team, and I'm like, man, that's the one where Dallas better be on their game. And that's why I think the Commanders could play spoiler to the Eagles too. I don't think they're going to quit.
Yeah, because we have our last 4 games are what? It's the Vikings,
Chargers,
Commanders,
and at the Giants.
So the if I'm looking at those 4 games, the one I'm most worried about is the Chargers, in my opinion. I think that Chargers defense. I mean, I know the offense for Philly played bad, but I think that Chargers defense is pretty damn good on some of the things that they can do. And I thought they looked pretty damn good, the other night against the Eagles. And I've watched them. I've seen a handful of not a handful of their games. I'd say I've seen a couple of their games. And I think the Chargers, they obviously just record-wise, you look at it, that's the biggest threat, right?
Yeah.
You just look at the record-wise. But I think when you look at the matchups and how the Cowboys match up with the Chargers, I think they're the ones that probably give us the biggest threat there to give us a loss along these last 4 games.
12 o'clock game too doesn't we
noon games, not the greatest, but I will say this. Look, I mean, I give the Cowboys a pretty good chance to win out of these next 4. I would not be surprised at all if they ended up winning out these next 4. But it's you'll find out how much fight is left in this team pretty quickly, because you'll see. I mean, but here's the thing. And I'm just throwing this out there. If Philly wins if they win, right? And let's just say hypothetically we lose this week, right?
Yeah.
I would shut it down.
It's over if they lose.
I would shut it down. You're not winning the division. I would shut it down. I'd put it. I would.
Can they shut it? Can they shut it down after they get their 8th win?
Well, I mean, listen. I still think they could get. I still think they could get an 8 win with Joe Milton. But I might throw in Joe Milton for the rest of the season and just pull Dak for the rest of the year. Just be like, hey, look, this ain't personal. Saying it, but if they did that, you'd get all these goddamn haters saying, "Oh man, Dak Prescott was so they benched his ass, But I'm just saying, I would shut it down if that happened, just because of the fact that what are you really playing for at that point except to ruin your draft spot? Let's just go ahead and stay at 6 wins.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I understand you want to play for
momentum. I think there's something to. This team is pretty much the way it's structured is going to be back
I
next
get it.
year. I don't
I
see a
get it.
ton of turnover on offense. With the coaching staff, I think, because that's what I was going to kind of leave you with. If they go, let's say they win out
Yeah.
and they don't make the play, they're 10-6. How disappointed are you in this season? If my memory's right, I think you had them at 11 wins. I think I did too, or maybe you had 12 and I had
I
11.
think I
We're
might
right
add him
around
at
there.
12. I think I
Okay,
might
then
add
I
him at
had
12.
11. How would you view this season? How would you view it as a positive one for Schottenheimer? Would it be a just terrible? I mean, and I think it's bad. Anytime you don't make the play, it's not a good season in my view.
Right.
But kind of
Yeah.
the bigger, I'm thinking the bigger picture of what Schotty's trying to do. How do you kind of see, how would you feel going into the offseason, I guess?
Man, look, I think that if you scratch out 10, I think that if you somehow squeak out and you end up with 10 wins at the end of the year, even if you don't make the playoffs, I think it's hard to look at that season and say that it was a failure just because of one, you had some health issues, and two, just how horrific this defense was. I mean, you think about it. You get to 10 wins when you had the 32nd ranked pass or run defense for the majority of the year. I mean, really, until you got Quinnen Williams, did you start really kind of starting to stiffen up against the run? And I mean, I think that right there is an accomplishment in and of itself, finishing with 10 wins with a defense that bad.
Yeah.
Having the injuries you did in that defensive secondary, the linebacker position, you're basically going with a bunch of retreads, guys that are kick the tire type of guys, which, let's face it, if we wanted to pull the tape back, man, I said back when we got Kenneth Murray, I was not impressed. This is back
No,
when
you did. You did.
I thought that Sanborn maybe had a chance to be somebody, but I said, look, he's also another guy that's not really proven. Didn't get a whole lot of playing
Is he
time in
even on the team
Chicago.
anymore? Is he still on the team?
I think he's buried so far on the damn roster. I don't know, but look, I mean, I was not impressed with those linebackers, and I thought that our biggest weaknesses was going to be our linebacker and our defensive front, and it sure as hell was all season long till they got Quinnen Williams, and now it's the secondary and linebacker position. So I think that you look at all that they've overcome, and if they do get to 10 wins, even if they get to 9 wins, even if they lose one along the way, even 9, finishing at that 9 win record, yeah, I mean, am I going to be disappointed? Sure. But am I going to look at it as a failure? No. I think Schottenheimer did a pretty great job with this team this year, the way he kind of rallied the troops and the way that they played for him. And I think it's a good stepping stone towards building something and getting to where you want to be next year. If you make the right move, then yeah.
That's where I kind of see it going. And to be honest with you, and someone can correct me if they can look at it, I just don't know a year where you had 10 wins and you didn't make the playoffs. So if they get to 10 wins, it's just been a weird year where the NFC West is just dominated the conference, dominated, in the standings. And you're going to get 3 teams with 12, probably 11 minimum, but more than likely 12 or more wins out of 3 teams in one conference. And then obviously you throw the North in there. If they who thought the Bears would be where they're at, and then obviously the Lions, they're not in the play. They're fighting their playoff lives too. They may not even get in, and then obviously you have the Packers. So it's just been a kind of a weird year, in the standings, and it's just kind of the luck of the Cowboys sometimes. But I think if they get to 10 wins, I'm going to be disappointed, but I think I'd feel better going into next year. I think we talked about strength up the middle. That's really where you need to be. And the Cowboys have solidified the defensive tackles, but linebacker, to your point, it's a problem. You can argue safety is a problem up the middle. And I think they need to get a ball hawk back there in the safety position. They're going to have to go draft heavy defense, but you got to hit them. And the Cowboys, I mean, just being honest, their defensive drafts outside of, Parsons and obviously Overshown, if he stays healthy, of course, I mean, then that would be a good one too. But for the most part, they've struggled in drafting defensive guys, especially early on. I mean, they kind of reached on Van Der Esch and he was injured. So his, that's got to be looked at as a loss. Obviously, Taco Charlton, Mozzie Smith. I mean, they've struggled a little bit in the early round. Randy Gregory in the second round. I mean, it's just been Kelvin Joseph. Yeah, we could name a ton of them.
It was a
So you got to have faith in the
pretty
defense
long list.
draft, right?
Yeah, I mean they've got a fairly long list of failures when it comes to you know to the drafting. Man, I don't really have a whole lot of faith in these guys, but that's what they got to do, though, man. They're going to it needs to be a defensive heavy draft, and I'm not saying you completely ignore the offense because obviously a well balanced team is building. I think the Cowboys could definitely go
Right
for
tackle.
some depth on the offensive line. I was about to say right tackle, depth across the offensive line. Wouldn't it be crazy if in the first round they draft an offensive lineman again?
You and I did that. We got so upset. I remember the draft part. We got so upset if they do an offensive lineman. And I mean, Booker's turned out to be the real deal. So that's why
but I mean,
that's why we're sitting at home and they're in the draft room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll just tell you this right now, man. Listen, if the Cowboys would go to the draft and if that first pick that they get, they don't draft if they draft a right tackle, I'll just tell you this: don't be surprised. Do not be surprised. Don't nobody love an offensive lineman like the Dallas Cowboys organization, man. So I could see them doing that, but I think it needs to be a defensive heavy draft. You know what I mean? I think you need to address it. I think it's a good draft for that. There's some good pass rushers out there, man. Listen, me personally, I would love it. He is originally guy was projected as a day 3 pick, probably 5th round, 6th round. Jacob Rodriguez has worked his way up to now where they're talking about him as a 3rd round pick, possibly maybe even sliding into the bottom of the 2nd round. I think he's the best linebacker in all of college football. I don't care what anybody says. Nobody's going to tell me different. I would love to see him with a star on his helmet. A little bit undersized, just a little bit. I think he's
a playmaker, though.
6'1", 235. So a little bit, but you just cannot coach the type of instincts he has to get to the ball. That punch that he has to get the ball out. 7 forced fumbles this year and 4 interceptions, and he's done that multiple years in a row now. Where he's a ball hawk. He is great in coverage. He's the kind of linebacker where, he's one of those guys where he's not going to rush the passer. You can, but he's going to be a guy who plays well in coverage, plays great against the run. And boy, would I love to have him on this team. He's the kind of linebacker that we really, really, really need on this team right now to pair up with Overshown and hopefully another solid linebacker.
Yeah, he's a playmaker, and I it's the same thing when the Cowboys. I always go back to Devin Hester, and I begged the Cowboys, screaming at the TV, draft Devin Hester. He was out of Miami, didn't know what to do with him, but he was a playmaker. And I said he would just change a team, and obviously did a Hall of Fame career with the Bears, just really primarily being a special teams guy, but can't have enough playmakers. If you're a playmaker at a high level in college, you're going to be a playmaker in the NFL. I just think that's just your instincts and what you are. So I would be all for that. We got over 230 of you guys hanging out in here. Just real quick, just a PSA. Make sure you hit that subscribe, like, and share. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe. But more importantly, thumbs up down below the screen. Just hit that thumbs up. It doesn't cost you nothing. Doesn't hurt. Just helps out the channel. One thing that we did, we're creeping up on 1 million views. I didn't really tell you guys that, but tell you now. So it's definitely appreciative of you guys. And the channel's been growing. We've actually hit a level now where we can do subscription. And basically what that is you can do $4.99 a month, and it just goes into the channel to help support the channel. So instead of super chats and things like that. But one thing I'm going to do is once we kind of get it going, it's brand new, I'm going to do some giveaways. We'll do some member only. So it's basically a membership thing. We'll do some member only giveaways, Cowboys memorabilia. It could be tickets to a game. It could be all different things. So if you guys want to, be generous, you can do it. You don't have to. It's completely optional. I could care less. But if we do get enough, then what I'll do is I'll start giving back and doing some giveaways. I got to clean out some stuff. So we'll do some things like that to make it fun. Could even be like a jersey or shirt or something like that. I get a lot of rewards points, so I'll always use those to give back to the fans. So you guys, there's an option where you can see subscription or members or whatever. You can click that and be part of the family even more. And like I said, we'll definitely give back. I promise you that. But thank you for everybody that is subscribed and hit that thumbs up. That's you can do for free. That doesn't cost you anything. And I hate selling ourselves, but I mean, it's YouTube, and that's what you got to do. The more subscribers you get, the more people, it turns other people on the channel. We've grown almost 300 subscribers since the Philly game. So people love that. So that kind of helped us going. That's why we got to keep some good things going, but definitely just wanted to put that out there to thank everyone. And I don't know, anything you want to add, Kelly, before we go to prediction time?
No, I was just giving a quick round of applause for the Philadelphia Eagles, because when Philadelphia loses, it is good for business. So keep on losing, Philly. You're doing great on our end. We're tending to do numbers, and we like to do those numbers, and we can't do that without your team collectively choking together, and that's what we need. Basically choking like a broke girl on OnlyFans. So thank you, Philadelphia, for that. You guys are great. Your fan base melting down makes me smile and makes my Christmas nice and fuzzy. Under the Christmas tree, I asked Santa for a box of Philadelphia tears. Let's hope that he delivers. So thank you for that.
And someone asked, where do you do it? Should be under memberships. I'm kind of new to it because we just got it, but I think it's under memberships, and I think it's like $4.99 or something like that. But hopefully you guys can find it. But if you go to the our YouTube channel, it should show somewhere on there where you just do memberships.
It does. There's a when you I'm actually on the page right now. I joined on that page. So you'd actually just click join under the Cowboys Cave. So if you're watching the Cowboys Cave right now, the video, there is a button next to the alert button on the little bell. There's a button there to your left that says join. You click join and it'll give you the option to sign up right there. It says join the channel. That's how you subscribe right there, and that'll get her done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So just want to put out, I was kind of waffling back and forth because I hate to like make it seem like I'm, begging for stuff, but it's kind of, it goes with the channel. So like I talked to a buddy of mine, he goes, hey, you guys do this is what you do. So go ahead and get it done. But that's why I said, I'm going to give back. I got some cool stuff I put to the side. So we'll give some stuff. I think we got a super chat, by the way, too.
We did. We got one for Garland. It's just to send $1.99.
Yeah, appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you. And so let's get to predictions. Let's get to where the heads are at with the Vikings coming to town. Sunday Night Football. I shared the story. I was sitting watching the Cardinal game. My wife and I were there for the weekend. We had the SMU game. We're excited, and when I get in Dallas, I get in the mood. I get, my wife's like, God, we went to Frisco and the hotel was there. I said, babe, book that hotel. When we come back to Minnesota, we're staying there where the team does. We're gonna spend some time in Frisco, and then got the flights, got everything, sat our butts in the chair, watched the first half of football. By halftime, I said, babe, cancel that hotel, cancel our flight. I put my tickets up on StubHub during halftime. Ended up selling them, and lo and behold, I said I'll probably live to regret it, but I'm a reactional person. I react too quick. I don't think, and I'm emotional. That's just one of my traits, and I regret it. I'm supposed to be there this weekend. I actually was going to try and get tickets. My wife said, too late. The son and I are going out of town, so yeah, so I'm missing the game. So it sucks, but that's where we're at. So prediction time. But before we do, we got new members, RPE. Thank you very much. Didn't have to do it, but we appreciate it. Doug, a new member. Thank you, our man Doug. We love Doug.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Disappointed we're not going to be in Carolina next year, but I think we're going to do the Cowboys Cave Road show in Houston. Dallas at Houston next year. Like where we're going to be. See where the schedule comes out. And definitely appreciate the love. But what's your thoughts on this game, everybody? And Kelly, start us off.
Yeah, so I am going to go, like I said, I think the games that the Cowboys have, the last 4 games, I think they're all going to be pretty tight. I don't think anything's going to get too carried away here. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I'm going to say 28 to, I'm going to say 28-22.
Oh, you're one better than Cuts. You got 28-22. One better than Cuts.
28-22. Yeah, I was gonna say 28-21, and then I don't know, for some reason the 22 came to my mind. I don't know.
I'm
I don't know how
seeing a
they get
lot
to
of
two.
30-26, 38-28, 28-14, 24-13, 30-30. Is that 25? That's an odd. That'd be an odd score if we got that. I think the Cowboys win. They're at home. I think the
Play
Vikings
better at home.
defense does blitz, but if you look at Dak's numbers against the blitz, he has
Plays
been
well.
about the best in the NFL against the blitz.
Yeah.
So CeeDee Lamb coming back, I think, is going to be important. That 10 days that they got, I think, helped. It was scary. So he's doing some limited work. So I'm hopeful he comes back. Pickens, we really didn't even talk much about Pickens. I think he's going to come out with a vengeance. I think he got a little tired of what was said in the media and that kind of stuff. So I think he's going to come out to a big game. And really, one of the guys who had a breakout game, Ryan Flanoy, I think he's going to continue to be that third receiver. I think the Cowboys just have too many weapons on offense. I think our defense is a question mark. Jefferson obviously could have his way with our secondary. So I'm at a 34-28 game. I think the Cowboys are comfortable, but I think they kind of pull away, and then maybe Minnesota makes it interesting in the end. And thank you, Cuts, for we got another new member. So memberships are great. So yeah, we start getting more. I'm gonna do something. So we'll definitely.
I was gonna say when you're a member now and you talk, your name is like highlighted in green here in the chat.
That. So now we
know.
Just
noticed that. So now we know.
If you're a member.
This is how we know. You can't. This is how we know. If you're a member, you get that little special little deal. So, no. And thanks for joining up.
Membership has its privileges.
Membership has its privileges.
What line was that? Is that a credit card or somebody?
The VIP lounge. Listen, you all get free access to the champagne room, to the boom boom room.
Well, they might be under the tent. We might have. Cowboys Cave, we might have to set up a VIP area. Do we dare expand it out for the members to have maybe
members only VIP area? We have to get some plush liquor, some top shelf liquor that we might have to look into that for next year's tailgate.
Step it up.
Yeah, always. There's always something we can do. Make it special. We make it special for our listeners and our viewers, man. We love all of you, though. I mean, I understand more than anybody, man. Holiday season, even though it's just $4.99, holiday season could be tough, man, and that's a tough stretch sometimes financially for people. So listen, we take the support that you guys can give us, whether you're members or not. We do appreciate it if you are, but we appreciate y'all coming in and viewing and being in the chat with us every single week and coming in and supporting us, because it truly does mean a lot to come in here, interact with us, and to be a part of the Cowboys Cave family. So you are all equally special. I just want to say that to you guys. But yes, I think the Cowboys get this win versus the Vikings. I was going to touch on something because you talked about the whole Pickens thing, and I'm just going to.
I mean, what is your thing? I think it's horse shit, but
I thought it was blown way out of proportion. I don't think I saw Pickens running easy routes or running half-ass routes. I didn't see that. I mean, there you could pull that up in any game of any team you watch, and if the play is designed to go the other way, you're not gonna. There's a lot of times you see that other wide receiver, and they're not always going to be running full speed. So you could pull that up with a dozen different receivers right now if you wanted to. I think what they picked on was the fact that the Cowboys lost. I think you did see George Pickens frustrated. You could tell he was visibly frustrated, which, I mean, you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose. And he was getting double teamed and bracketed all night. He said it in one of his tweets because he came out and fired some shots back at Richard Sherman after Richard Sherman kind of came out and just went scorched earth on George Pickens like he's the worst person in the world. I don't see it, man. Listen, George Pickens has been a dog all season long. Played 3 games in 11 days, and the Detroit Lions were absolutely dead set on George Pickens not being the guy to beat them. And they did everything, slanting defensive coverages his way to make sure he was not capable of beating them, which opened the doors for CeeDee Lamb and Ryan Flournoy, which is why they both had very big games. Before Lamb went down, he had over 100 yards. Flournoy ended up with over 100 yards. That's why, because they were making everything very hard for Pickens. I don't question Pickens' effort. I don't question his dedication. I don't question his route running. I don't question a damn thing about Pickens. I'd sign Pickens to a big contract today. I just think that
Absolutely.
there's so many Dallas Cowboys haters waiting in the wings to watch him fail, rooting for him to fail, rooting for him to implode. And I think they made a big fuss over absolutely nothing. I've
Yeah.
got zero
Yeah,
concerns with George
that's
Pickens.
that's what the national media does. Shout out Garland, new member. And I think I said RPE. Then I'm like, man, I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
did. We did.
Okay, I apologize. I just wanted to make sure. Definitely appreciate it. The media, that's what they want to do. I mean, that they want to stir it up, and some people get sucked into it. I'm not gonna that shit. I'm not gonna get sucked. I look at the full body of work of George Pickens, and you can't tell me this team isn't better with George Pickens, and he has been very good that I've seen. Is he? You know, some people call him like the clown. Like that's what I heard. Like he just kind of his personality's that way. So sometimes they had to sit him a play or whatever it is. Sometimes it just kind of goes with shit. They had Michael Irvin sit out a half one time until the Arizona Cardinals scored on the first drive. Then Jimmy Johnson says, "Yeah, we're not doing that. Get back in." The guy's going to help you win football games. The guy's going to help you win football games. So I think it was all media bullshit. It's just like that idiot Orlovsky. That dude will not be critical of Jalen Hurts just because he never wants to be proven wrong. And I understand he's an Eagle fan, but the dude threw like 4 interceptions, the turnovers. What do you have? All those turnovers. And he still said, you know what? He didn't play bad. And then he's so critical of Dak Prescott. It's like certain media people, they're just going to die
You
on
can
the
see their
hill.
bias.
And that's what they're going to do. So I beg Cowboy fans and Cowboys Nation, do not let the media create narratives that you get sucked into that's just going to make things worse. I mean, Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, you want them on your team. I mean, Jesus, you want them on your team. So anyway, that's my thoughts on CD.
I agree.
Very proud of Flournoy. I think obviously he has proven to be a dog, and he needs to be the legit 3. Are you kind of over the Turpin being out there as much? I think he needs to just be the gadget guy, but
we found ourselves our number 3. We found ourselves our number 3. I think next year you go into the season with Flournoy, Pickens, and GP as your top 3 receivers, and I think you're sitting absolutely perfectly fine with that. I will say one guy, man, not to go too deep into things, man, but I know it's one bad game, and I hate to shit on somebody for one bad game because he's been really good all year, but damn, dude, Jake Ferguson, man. Sometimes that guy, sometimes he really aggravates me, and he aggravated me in that Detroit game.
2 plays, right? Are we talking 2 plays? He got screwed on the offensive PI, though. I'll give him that.
No, he did. But I'm just saying there's just sometimes where you're like, I feel like he tries a little bit too hard, and sometimes it's just like, all right, dude, go down, take what you got and go down, because he had a problem with fumbles last year.
Yeah.
And this was a big fumble in the moment of the game in that Detroit game. It's not the reason that it lost us the game. And again, I'm not trying to shit on the guy and say that I'm too down on him, but damn, man, sometimes Jake Ferguson really, really aggravates me, whether it's a big crucial drop or whether it's a fumble. Sometimes I don't know about him, man. I don't know. I'm starting to kind of feel like how I used to feel with Dalton Schultz. Like he can make some plays at times, but can you trust him in a crucial moment?
You know the play that killed me, but I'm glad Cut said this because he reminded me of this in the chat, and you would have been proud of me because so many people become fanboys when they see someone. And Cuts and I, that morning, it was just me, Cuts, Mark, and we're just walking by ourselves, and lo and behold, Dan Orlovsky is right there. You know where the Cowboys players, the buses come in? You know, the buses come in that tunnel. Well, he stopped in front of the tunnel. They let him out, and I guess he was going to walk there. And we're walking by, and Cuts goes to me, goes, "Hey, Tag." I said, "Oh, look, there's Orlovsky." Tag, and Cuts goes, "Hey, Tag, you want to get a quick picture with him?" I said, "Hell no." And we just walked by, and all I said was, "Why don't you just stop talking shit on Dak?" That's all we just kept saying that, and we just walked away. I wasn't going to be like these guys that ripped Jerry Jones. And I was down there and I sat and watched Jerry Jones, walk out, and all these fans run up and they want pictures with all the ones that were, fire Jerry. They're all bitching and moaning. And then the first opportunity they see him, they're all being so nice to him and want to autograph and want a picture and want this and that. I wasn't we had no part of that. We had no part with Orlovsky. I think my wife was there too. Was that that must have been the Cardinal debacle, because that was when they were live. So my wife was there too, and I'm like, yeah, we're not getting a picture with. The thing I would say, he's pretty damn tall. He's a lot bigger than I anticipated, because I was thinking maybe we'd go knock him out, but he was a lot taller than I thought. But yeah, we weren't going to kiss his ass.
Yeah, and that's the thing for me is that not any insult to anybody that has, because I know people that have, and I get it. If you go on the show, because I know my boy Cuts did. I know my boy Cuts. I seen it, but there's a few guys that are out there that are in that light that I'm gonna talk shit if I see him. I'm not gonna sit there and take no picture, and I'm not gonna definitely shake your hand. And then one of them's Dan Orlovsky, the other one's Stephen A. Smith, the other one is Shannon Sharp. Like, man, fuck those three dudes, man. I ain't shaking their hands. I ain't talking to, like, if I got that, if I got a chance to see Stephen A. Smith, the only thing I'm gonna tell him is, like, I see your shtick, and I do not respect it. I do not respect it. You make your living talking shit about the team that I love. So to me, he's in the same damn breath as a Philadelphia Eagles fan for me. That's with all them dudes. I quit. I don't even watch this. I swear I don't watch it. When I say I don't watch something, I'm not sitting there watching it in the background. I do not watch First Take. I do not watch anything that's got Dan Orlovsky on. I don't watch none of them shows. I can't stand them, man. I just cannot stand to see these guys. Because what I think it does, man, is I think it adds fuel to the fire on these people that hate on Dak Prescott already.
Yeah,
or the people that hate on the Dallas Cowboys already.
Yeah,
who's that?
Shady McCoy. He's got to be another one.
Oh yeah, no, but he's an Eagle. That goes without saying, man. I'd probably drop kick that little.
What I was gonna say on Ferguson, the fumble bothered me because it's like you're done, drop. But you know what bothered me the most? Because it just wasn't necessary, and if you watch the replay, he just kept it there, and he just wouldn't stop. Was the illegal?
Yeah, it wasn't going nowhere.
The illegal hands of the face that took back the PI where we would have had the ball on like the 5-yard line on George Pickens it was like kind of early in the game. That just infuriated because it wasn't necessary. The guy wasn't even in the pass rusher wasn't getting near Dak. It wasn't like he was saving anything. It was just stupid. And that's the part. It's the same thing with like Turpin. Is he only got two illegal fair catches called in the NFL all season? He has both of them in the last 2 weeks. Those kind of mistakes, those are critical. That was a 50-yard penalty. And same thing with Turpin. It ends up, that one put I think it was the one of them that put Dallas back in like to the 1-yard line, or maybe that was a different play, but whatever. It just doesn't help. Those are game-changing.
Agreed.
But yeah, that was my thing with Ferguson so much. I think he's played good this year. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but a couple plays here and there just kind of like, God, man, they're just so critical. It separates wins and losses, so.
I agree, man. Got to get that stuff and nip it in the bud, man.
Yeah. And for defensive Cuts, it's business. So, I mean, Cuts did what he did. But, on the Stephen A. on that show, because you don't watch it, you didn't see it, but I saw because you could see like the show in the background. They had his cut full screen on ESPN. Cuts his work.
Yeah, no. And that's said.
From the business side, it's business.
No, I respect Cuts' hustle and what he was doing there. I'm just saying, me personally, I don't have anything that I could advertise and promote and try to make money off Stephen A. Smith. I ain't knocking the hustle.
Cuts would argue you might have a Cowboys Cave, T-shirt, maybe like, subscribe, share, something like that, right? Cuts. I mean, you always got to be hustling. You always got.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could get that, but I would rather smack Stephen A. Smith in the mouth personally. So I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Get a chance to get up close and personal with somebody that I might not have such nice things to say, man. My mouth has a way of saying things when I get heated.
I've seen you in action. I saw you in the Cowboys Pro Shop during the Eagle game. My son still talks about that. We still laugh about that. He goes, do you think if that guy came over, do you think the fight would have broke out? I said, well, Kelly probably would have hit him, and if he survived it, then I think he would have got stomped by the rest of us. Yeah, it was probably good that the poor security people intervened, but yeah, you're not one to bite your tongue for sure.
No, definitely not.
Haven't seen it. So, but anyway, hey, we're gonna get rolling. We got 300 of you guys, over 300. Again, like I said, on your way out, it doesn't cost anything. Just hit that thumbs up just below on that like button, and it helps out the channel. But we will be back. We will do our our Sunday morning show. Greg and I, and we had my man Jeff stop in. I think he wanted to come back. We had a great time pregame, and obviously Kelly and the rest of the Cowboys K family is always welcome to join in. A little pregame talk for the Cowboys, get you ready for Sunday. So we'll be back live doing that. But until then, I wish you guys a great weekend. Hopefully everything is good. Kelly, any final words before we head out?
Man, just, everybody continue to have yourselves a great week. We got some Cowboys football. Enjoy the last 4 games of the season. I will say enjoy every single one, win or loss, because there's a good chance that these are the last 4 games we're going to see that this Cowboys don't end up in the playoffs, and then it's a very, very long time till football starts again, man. So I would just say enjoy enjoy these last few games. Watch them with your loved ones and your family and cheer loud and vigorously. And let's all keep applauding for a Philly downfall and for them to keep just collapsing and, keep rooting for anybody that I got 2 favorite teams in the NFL right now. I said I'd never have 2 teams, but I do. I've got the Dallas Cowboys and whoever the hell the Philadelphia Eagles are playing. So Let's go Cowboys and dilly. Oh, Philly.
And if something bad happens, understand for the next few weeks, it's going to turn into a Texas Tech Miami Hurricanes show. So, we're going to keep talking. It's going to be something. But hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Let's go Cowboys. And hopefully we see you on the live show Sunday. You guys take care. Have a great weekend. See you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.